You look at a result like Manchester City beating West Ham United at home, and you might just shrug and move on. Seems pretty standard, right? But this game, this was so much more than just another 3 points. The story behind the scoreline is a huge one, a tale of soaring ambition crashing right into a desperate fight for survival.
So there it is, 3-0. A simple score that, yeah, suggests a pretty one-sided game at the Etihad Stadium, and it was. But what that single number means for each of these clubs, well, that's where the real story begins.
Because that 3-0 score, for one team, it's a story of ambition, of climbing to the very top. For the other, it's a story of a crisis getting deeper and deeper. So how on earth did one result manage to paint two such wildly different pictures?
All right, first things first, let's set the stage. To really get why this result was such a big deal, you have to understand exactly where these two teams were coming from before a ball was even kicked. This was a classic clash of two clubs on completely opposite paths.
And wow, this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you've got Manchester City, the high flyers, breathing down the neck of the league leaders, chasing another title. And on the other side, you've got West Ham, already stuck in that dreaded relegation zone, just scrapping for their lives.
So, let's talk about City. What was their winning formula on the day? How did they manage to just so clinically and relentlessly take West Ham apart?
Well, for starters, they wasted absolutely no time. Erling Haaland scores just 5 minutes in. 5 minutes. Any hope West Ham had of keeping things tight was just gone, right there. Then Reijnders adds another before halftime, and Haaland seals the deal in the second half. It was over before it ever really began.
And if you want to see what total control looks like, here it is. City held the ball for nearly 2/3 of the entire match. That's not just keeping the ball. That's dictating every single moment of the game, completely starving West Ham of any chance to build anything at all.
And this wasn't just, aimless passing. Look at this, 744 completed passes. That's nearly double what West Ham managed. It shows a team that is just patiently, methodically moving the ball, probing for weaknesses, and pulling their opponent completely out of shape.
And get this wasn't some kind of fluke. This result was part of an absolutely mind-boggling pattern. Manchester City does not lose at home to teams in the relegation zone. I mean, a 48-game unbeaten streak that goes all the way back to 2008. That just shows you the impossible mountain West Ham was trying to climb.
Okay, so let's flip the coin now. For every story of triumph, there's another side. And for West Ham, this wasn't just another loss. This was a really tough day that just added to what was becoming a deeply troubling season. And this quote from the BBC, it just captures the mood perfectly. Imagine being one of those fans who traveled all the way from London. That goal, 5 minutes in, it wasn't just a setback. It was the exact moment that any hope of a miracle was just gone. You can see how it all just kind of snowballs, can't you? The whole new manager bounce with Nuno Espirito Santo, it just never happened. Now there's 6 games without a win. So you go into this match with fragile confidence, you concede a super early goal, and your entire game plan is in the trash. There was just no way back.
But let's be honest here. You simply cannot talk about this match without focusing on the one guy who completely and utterly defined it. Yep, it's time to talk about the Haaland factor.
19. Just look at that number. 19 goals already in the Premier League this season for Erling Haaland after this game. I mean, that's not just a good season. That is an absolutely ridiculous, historic campaign from a guy who is just a pure goal machine.
His fingerprints were all over this win. He scored the first goal that broke the game open. He scored the third goal that ended it. He even assisted the goal in between. And he was inches away from a hat-trick in injury time. He was just unplayable.
And well, the official stats tell the exact same story. 2 goals, 1 assist, a player rating of 8.77. There was absolutely zero doubt about who the player of the match was.
So what did this all mean for the big picture? Let's take a step back and look at how this one single result completely reshaped both the top and the bottom of the Premier League table.
And boom! With this win, Manchester City leapfrogs Arsenal to take over first place. Now, it might only be temporary, but that puts enormous psychological pressure on their title rivals. This is exactly where City loves to be, right at the top, daring everyone else to catch them. Now, just contrast that with this. For West Ham, the loss cements their place in 18th, deep inside that relegation zone. The gap to safety is now 3 points. Their situation, which was already tricky, is now becoming seriously dangerous.
So when you boil it all down, the takeaways are crystal clear.
For City, it's a 5th straight win, building that terrifying momentum they're known for. But for West Ham, it confirms they'll be in the bottom 3 for Christmas, and that pressure to survive is only going to get more intense.
So Manchester City looks unstoppable, right? They're on the hunt for another title. But the real drama might be at the other end. West Ham's situation looks bleak, but this is a club that has a history of pulling off miraculous escapes. So that leaves us with the big question: can they possibly do it again?